And we do begin now at 5 tonight, making a break in a case nearly a decade later. How a man's arrest for crimes on the Monon Trail linked him to the rape of a 13-year-old.
And the search for the person who killed Charlie Kirk. The pictures the FBI released of the person of interest and the reward being offered for their arrest.
Deciding if the suspect in the death of a police officer from Elwood has an intellectual disability.
The decision just made in a Madison County courtroom. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News.
To hear that a young child had to endure and go through the things that are outlined in the probable cause affidavit are difficult to even talk about.
Tonight, investigators are linking a man arrested for 2 attempted rapes on the Monon Trail to yet another crime. And prosecutors say it was DNA evidence that helped put a face to an alleged child rapist. And this is happening nearly 10 years later. Tonight, 27-year-old Larry Dewerson, pictured here, is facing rape and child molestation charges.
Ashton Hackman explains what led to a delay and what the prosecutor called a parent's worst nightmare.
For nearly a decade, his face was a mystery to the victim and police. Now, years later, police say Larry Dewerson Jr. was the masked man behind a violent sexual assault of a 13-year-old in February 2016.
The allegations are absolutely brutal. These allegations occurred in 2016, and now in 2025, we're in a position to file this case and hopefully bring some measure of justice to the victim.
Dewerson is charged with 2 counts of rape and 2 counts of child molesting in this latest investigation, all as the highest level felony in Indiana. Investigators say Dewerson was 18 at the time of the assault, allegedly broke into the victim's home and left behind valuable DNA evidence. DNA that would find a match years later in June 2019. Investigators say Dewerson's DNA matched the evidence collected at the scene, but Dewerson was never arrested.
Lawrence police say the detective on the case at that time was unable to make contact with the victim, so charges were not able to be filed. The detective eventually retired, and when IMPD reached back out about Dewerson's latest arrest last month, a new detective was assigned and was able to make contact with the victim.
The new detective confirmed in 2016 Dewerson lived just doors down from the victim.
Certainly we couldn't do it without the DNA, but we also can't do it without the victim. And to have the victim's cooperation in this matter, I think just speaks to the enduring spirit of people that we have in our community.
Dewerson's criminal past spans as far back as the 2016 assault. Prosecutors are asking for higher than normal bail, calling him a threat to the community with a history of failing to appear. 2 attempted sexual assaults helping to reveal the face of an alleged child rapist 9 years after the assault. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Thank you, Ashton. And Larry Dewerson is scheduled to face a judge Friday morning on these new charges. That's when prosecutors are expected to argue he stay in jail for the time being.
Tonight, a high school student at Heron High School is in police custody, accused of bringing a gun to campus. The school sent a statement saying another student reported there possibly was a gun on campus on the near north side of Indianapolis. As a result, the school went into lockdown this morning. Metro Police came in to investigate. Officers confiscated that gun and said their investigation found that there was no intended threat to anyone there on campus. Developing tonight here at 5, there is now a $100,000 reward being offered in search for this person pictured here in the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
The FBI released these images of this person of interest around noon. Now the FBI director is on his way to Utah.
Tonight, Jay Gray shares the very latest in the search for that suspect that's underway in Utah.
Hey there, good evening. This university still locked down. An update on the investigation scheduled for this afternoon has been postponed at this point due to what law enforcement is describing as, quote, rapid developments in their intense manhunt for the suspect.
Tonight, our first look at someone investigators are calling a person of interest in the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location.
Piecing together clues from multiple video sources, authorities say next the suspect jumped from the roof, blending in with the panicked crowd to escape. A high-powered rifle believed to be the weapon used in the attack, uncovered not far from the scene.
Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
The brazen daylight attack on Kirk leaving a crowd of around 3,000 gathered to hear him speak in shock.
I don't think I've ever seen someone die in front of me, let alone be murdered.
Kirk was the co-founder of Turning Point USA and a staunch supporter of President Trump, recruiting thousands of young people to join the MAGA movement. At a 9/11 memorial event at the Pentagon, the president says he will honor the conservative influencer with the nation's highest civilian award.
I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Vice President J.D. Vance called Kirk a friend today, canceling his trip to New York in a 9/11 memorial to be with Kirk's family in Utah, as a manhunt for the killer intensifies after what appears to be another politically motivated attack, highlighting deep and increasingly deadly divisions across this country.
Then right now the FBI looking for help from the public, offering up to a $100,000 reward for information leading to the identification and arrest of a suspect. Jay Gray, NBC News, Orem, Utah.
Now, we've seen a lot of government leaders and lawmakers respond to the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Tonight, the co-chairs of the Indiana Future Caucus released a bipartisan statement condemning the killing. Republican State Representative Bo Bairds and the Democratic State Representative Victoria Garcia Wilburn wrote, quote, "As a nation, we must move beyond this horrifying trend of harming or killing those you disagree with and return to a culture of spirited debate and respect for different viewpoints." NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas also following the investigation into the death of Charlie Kirk. The King coverage is here at 6:30 tonight, right here on Channel 13 after 13 News at 6. Angela?
Anne-Marie, as expected, a warmer afternoon. The warm-up does continue and will continue into the next several days, including the weekend. Temperatures right now in the low to mid 80s. We have 82 Morse Reservoir, 83 Carmel, 85 Indianapolis, 82 Bainbridge, and 85 degrees in Brown County. Out and about this evening, maybe you're coming downtown, Victory Field, a little warm, a little hazy. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s and low 80s for that first pitch and stay relatively warm all the way through the ninth inning. Overnight temperatures in the range of 55 to 60 for most of us. Sun clouds, a warm Friday afternoon. High temperatures tomorrow, middle and upper 80s. We're forecasting a high of 88 degrees. So after a couple of mild weeks in a row for Operation Football, it's going to be a warm evening. No sweatshirt, no jacket needed tomorrow evening. Those kickoff temperatures will be close to 80 degrees. We've got some 90s in the 7-day and a complex of storms that may bring us a rain chance. We'll talk about that in the weekend forecast.
Now, the first death penalty case to go to trial since Indiana resumed executions should be Carl Boards II in January.
He is charged with the shooting death of an Elwood police officer. This happened more than 3 years ago. Today, our Rich Nye spent the day in the courtroom in Madison County listening to psychologists testify about the IQ test scores of the accused killer.
2 court-appointed psychologists have performed intellectual disability evaluations on Carl Boards II. He is charged with the shooting death of Elwood police officer Noah Chanovez during a traffic stop in July 2022. Dr. Karen Salikin testified that Boards scored 92 on the IQ test she administered, well above the 70 score considered sub-average. She said Boards got poor grades in school that got worse as he got older. He did not graduate from high school, but then got his GED and earned a bachelor's degree while in prison for 13 years. Dr. John Fabian testified that it was a no-brainer and clear-cut that Boards does not have an intellectual disability. The prosecution called Dr. Justin Donaldson, who confirmed the court-appointed evaluations and said Boards' skills as a barber also indicate no intellectual disability.
We provided our own expert, a psychologist that we have retained in this case, and he provided some additional explanation to the court-appointed psychologist.
Do you have any concern that Carl Boards does have an intellectual disability that would then, in turn, I presume, prevent the death penalty in his case?
I have no concern at all.
Indiana has executed 2 men on death row since December, with another execution scheduled October 10th.
We just follow the law as it is applied in the state of Indiana and how we see as appropriate in this case, and all of that is irrelevant to our determinations.
The jury for this trial will be selected from Delaware County. The trial has been moved to Anderson City Court to provide for more space and better security for this high-profile case. The trial is scheduled to begin in January. In Anderson, Rich Nye, 13 News.
The judge will hear arguments from both sides on the intellectual disability evaluation at the next hearing that's set up for October 2nd. Jury selection then on track to start January 12th.
Tonight, the Marion County coroner is identifying a man killed in a shooting with Lawrence police.
25-year-old Malachi Baumgardner died in that shooting at a group home near Pendleton Pike and Carroll Road on the east side.
Officers first responded to a report of an assaulted caretaker. Police say when they arrived, a man charged them with a knife, and that's when officers shot him. Happening tomorrow, Republican state lawmakers who serve in the Indiana House of Representatives will participate in a virtual caucus.
Now, Indiana lawmakers have yet to confirm to us the reason for that meeting, but it all comes as the governor is considering whether or not to call a special session to redraw the congressional districts statewide. And one of those Republicans is District 69 Representative Jim Lucas. He's flipped a bit. He says he now supports redistricting.
You might remember earlier this year he told 13 News that it did not make sense for Indiana. But he posted about the reasoning for his change of heart online today, writing from the Indiana Spine Hospital where he had a major back surgery.
He wrote, "It's one of the last privately owned hospitals in the state, and it's doctor owned." He went on to say, quote, "If the Dems take control of the House midterm, places like this might go under, and the rest of Trump's reforms in health care, energy costs, border control, immigration, and voter reform will be dead in the water."
Ahead, trying to get a COVID vaccine for a child.
The issues one mom tells us she keeps running into. That's tonight at 5:30. But first here at 5, remembering the victims of 9/11.
The moving story one paramedic shared with us at the memorial downtown. Plus,
honestly, right now, what we as a country need is unity. And this event, as tragic as it was, it brought us as close as we can be.
He wasn't even alive at the time of the attack.
but now he's sharing how it's still bringing people together. We'll share how the others at the ceremony at the airport are also marking this somber anniversary.